Hey y'all, I'm Mayer Cunningham, the special education boss. If you've ever felt confused, overwhelmed, or just plain frustrated at the 504 IEP table, you are in the right place. Every week, I'm breaking down the rules, the rights, and the realities of special education so you can walk into meetings informed, empowered, and ready to make real change. And whether you're a parent, a teacher, an advocate, a school-based member, or somebody who's just trying to do right by a student, this podcast gives you straight talk, real answers, and tools that you can use immediately. I'm not here to play politics. I'm not here to play sides. I'm here to train people who sit at the table and teach you how to follow the law, ask the right questions, and protect the rights of students. So go ahead and hit subscribe, share this with a friend, and you know what? Meet me back here every single week. We're not just talking about change. We're making it. Because when you know better, you do better. And when we get it right for the child, we get it right for everybody. Hey, you guys. Welcome. We are here for our Latte Learn. I hope we all had a good week. I hope nobody put a candy bar in anybody's gas tank. We were joking about that one time, and one of my partners said, don't do that. Use a bag of marbles. So I feel like I would get caught, right, Cindy? And plus, marbles could leave a fingerprint. And they were like, is this special education boss's fingerprint? I'm like, I'm sorry. I have to tell you what happened. So have you had a good week, Cindy?
I have had a good week. How about you?
I've had a week. It's been a week, right? So
it's been a week?
Yeah, if we haven't met, I'm Mayer Cunningham, special education boss, training everyone that sits at the 504 IEP table to navigate and negotiate successful student outcomes. And so we have been wrestling this week with that dirty 4-letter word in special education. Have you heard of it? Called data. And it's just the only thing we make decisions on. I mean, it's just the only thing. And so I was in a meeting yesterday and I heard about observations, and I talked to some other people, and they told me, and so I just said, do you have that written down somewhere? No. Yeah, so if it's not written down, friends, it didn't happen, right? And we don't have an accounting of it. So we take data, not to penalize the teacher, not to penalize the student, so that we can tell if what we're doing is working. Isn't that what teachers do, Cindy? We teach and test, teach and test,
yes.
Teach and test. And so the data in special education is we're testing if our teaching is working. And if it is great, if it's not great too, but that gives us information to pivot. We will be pivoting in special ed. We'll be plie-ing, pivoting, pirouetting, all the P's, right? Who doesn't love a good alliteration? So if you guys have questions, just put the questions in the chat. We're going to get to as many as possible because we want you to continue to be amazing smarty pants as you sit at the 504 IEP table. Oh, can I show them something, Cindy?
Please show them something.
I don't know if you've seen this. It's probably backwards if you guys are seeing it. Maybe I should just hold it upside down. But this is our amazing book that's coming out in just a few months. Right now, if you pre-order, it releases about $500 worth of bonuses. You like bonuses, don't you? So if you just go to theepic.iep.com, theepic.iep.com, this is a powerful playbook for parents, educators, and advocates navigating the special education process. It's my life's work. We're so excited for you to have it. So go to theepic.iep.com. You can pick from your favorite book fulfillment provider and then come back and put your information in, and we will release your bonuses.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love it. Do you know how many platforms we're on? Last time I counted, and I had to start over twice, it was over 130.
Yep, you can get your book from 130 locations. And one of the locations is not at my house. Somebody's like, do you have some in the backyard? I don't. You don't want me making labels. Be like, what's that address? I never had any OT.
Well, as I cancel my trip to Karen's house tonight to look for a book.
Yeah, there's no books yet, but they're being released in January. So we want you to have them and prepare. We have a master summit that comes with it. And so we are excited. Oh, I thank you for loving my content. Okay, questions, Cindy.
So I have a student with autism who keeps running into my smart board walls and is allowed to do anything at home, and I'm trying to establish a routine, but I cannot do so. What are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I mean, if you believe that behavior is happening at home, often parents just need some support at home as well. So we've got a great evaluation that you could do called in-home parent training. So a student has a skill and they have it in one setting, but they're not generalizing it to another setting, or vice versa. It could be school to home, home to school, or there's a need to have that skill and generalize it. So ask for an evaluation from the district for in-home parent training. And often, I was a parent of a child with a disability. Cindy is. I mean, we don't know. Our kids, our non-disabled kids don't come with a manual. If they did, I think I left it at the hospital, Cindy. I think I left it in the hospital, probably with my other hairsprays. So, we're all doing the best that we can with the information we can have. So if we get some more information to parents, that might give them some gains at home. And then work on having, kids that have autism are going to be more successful when they're highly supported visually. A lot of times, as mamas and teachers and parents and grandparents, we do a lot of talking. Visually. A lot of times, as mamas and teachers and parents and grandparents, we do a lot of talking. But I say, just to bust out the menu, right? Make it like Denny's and see the visual expectation. So when you add that with verbal expectations, you're going to get more gains.
And you know what? I feel like it might have been a paperback book or a manual, and I don't do paperback. I want the hardcover.
I want the hardcover. I think I might have left it in the parking garage. When you give them that piece of paper and leave. That's probably what happened.
Yes, absolutely. If you pay for your parking, even better, because kids are expensive. Okay, here we go. Get ready. I'm getting ready for my first preschool IEP meeting. Any advice? And this is from Mama Thrifts.
Yeah, I mean, you need to have your questions written down on a piece of paper. You are not going to remember what you wanted to ask, inquire, get information on if it's not written down. So an IEP meeting is, I call an IEP meeting, it's kind of like the emergency room. And parents are under a high stress level. Teachers are overworked. They are, somebody's texting them to get back to another setting. So if you have your questions written down, as it relates to behavior, communication, expectation, what is he working on academically? Certainly want to know what the school is working on so that we can get a copy of that and we can build on whatever the school is doing, but have your questions written down. Have you ever gone to the grocery store and we can build on whatever the school is doing, but have your questions $400 worth of groceries and you don't have the one thing. You know why? Because you didn't write it down. And so we cannot expect, our frontal cortex or our amygdala to fire properly when we're under stress. And IEP meetings are stressful. And so we need to have it written down so that we can all be on the same page to make gains for this kiddo in light of his circumstances.
I always like to have mine written down as well, because sometimes I might not hold them to the fire and I will back off. Yeah. So I know if those questions are written down, and they're in front of me, I'm checking off as I go. It's kind of like a fail-safe.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the next one. I'm ready for my R meeting today. I have my I's dotted and my T's crossed. Thank you so much.
Oh, good job.
School versus homeschool for special needs children. Your thoughts?
So, anybody that educates children, we love you. You are an angel from heaven. You walk on water. Let me know if you want dark or milk chocolate for a teacher gift. Heaven, you walk on water. Let me know if you want dark or milk chocolate for a teacher gift. Heaven, you walk on water. Let me know if you want dark or milk chocolate for a teacher gift. For homeschooling, I know that you would have to be able to teach whatever your content areas. So that's science, social studies, math, reading, language, arts, and again, when we get to 8th grade, it just switches to English, math, science, and social studies. Here's what I say: when we get it right for the child, we get it right for everybody. And I don't believe personally there's a better setting for kids with disabilities than public schools when we get it right. Do we always get it right? We do not. And so if you believe that homeschooling would provide your child a bigger educational benefit, then, that's what you have to consider. It's a personal decision. You think about it, pray about it, and do what's right for your family.
Is there one place better to purchase the book or pre-order, or do we just pick any of them?
Yeah, you just pick any of them. Just go to the epic-iep.com, and several of them are from my publisher, Simon Schuster, or you just want to go into Hudson in the airports. Whatever is fine with you. It's fine with us. And then that information, when you order it, just come back and put that in, and that will release your bonuses. Who doesn't love bonuses, and who doesn't want to read the epic IEP? And we wrote this for everybody. This is for parents, educators, and advocates, because we are not on different sides of the table. There's just one side of the table, the side for the student.
It's such a meaningful, easy read. It is awesome.
Thank you.
Okay. If we cannot come to an agreement in an ARD meeting, what do I do as the parent?
So you want to capture your position. You know, I see people all over the interweb say, don't sign the IEP, don't sign the IEP, don't sign that. Why? Why wouldn't you sign it? People all over the interweb say, don't sign the IEP, don't sign the IEP, don't sign that. Why? Why wouldn't you sign it? You're a stakeholder, sign it and write what you're signing it. I agree, I partially agree, I didn't have time to prep, whatever it is. So, you know, as somebody that represents families in due process and federal complaints and state written complaints, we will get paperwork from people that have told us over the phone on their consult call that, I mean, Cindy, you get this too. I have argued with this school district for 3 or 4 years, and then we get the paperwork and we're going through it and we're going through it, and you never disagreed on paper. So the only reason that you have rights is because you know what they are and you invoke them. So if you disagree, which is part of the human experience, I don't know why we get so, like, somehow we can't disagree. You disagree with me, we're trying to pick lunch, right? Have you ever tried to go to have a meal with your spouse? I mean, why would it be unusual that different people didn't agree on something? That's not unusual. So sign and capture your position. So you have 3 choices at the end of an IEP meeting. You can table it if there was no offer of FAPE. You can agree, or you can disagree. And all of those are fine. If you sign in disagreement, you've gone through the whole ARD meeting, the whole IEP. Capture your disagree, and then the district, county, or city has an obligation, duty, and responsibility to offer you a reconvene, unless you're in Virginia. Virginia, they just turned the Zoom off. And then we use those 10 days, right? Or, you know, the statute always says an agreeable time agreed upon by parties to go get more data, to firm up or refute the offer of faith, right? And so we make decisions based on data. If you believe there was not enough data, then put that when you sign as well.
Do multiple teachers and staff members take data, or should it all be
as well?
Do multiple teachers and staff members take data, or should it all be?
There should be two indicators. One, implementer, that is the person responsible for working on the goal and taking data. So their names would be under there. It might say general ed teacher, special ed teacher, speech language pathologist, something like that. And then number 2, we'll talk about method of evaluation, super important. So method of evaluation is not an observation. Let's just clear that up. That was removed 8.5 years ago in the Andrew F. decision, March 22nd, 2017. The Supreme Court justices said, hold on to your seat, this is going to hurt your feelings, that a teacher observation is an opinion that cannot be verified. I know we don't like that, but it's true, right? And so we need to take written data at the rate of which the related service or instructional data on other.
We're a month into school, and no one has contacted me about my son's IEP plan. What do I do?
I mean, there's no obligation for the school to contact you about their
IEP. About my son's IEP plan. What do I do?
I mean, there's no obligation for the school to contact you about their IEP. So whatever the annual date was, if there's another meeting is good for 36 instructional weeks. Certainly, if you're wanting a review IEP meeting, you can call that. We always recommend that our parents give the school district what we call a ZAC pack, and it's sort of a one sheet of your kiddo, a picture of your kiddo, what are their strengths, what are their needs, what are they really challenged with, what is their best learning modality, a picture of your kiddo, what are their strengths, what are their needs, what are they really challenged with, what is their best learning modality, and then, of course, your information, how you can be reached. And then I would say, you know, we look forward to partnering with you. And so I would just reach out to the district and ask if they needed anything from me to implement the IEP and how things are going.
Can they have an IEP meeting even if they were told I couldn't make it?
So can they? Schools can do a lot of things. Is it legal? I don't know. So you have to make sure that the school at least tried to reach, to find a time that you could meet mutually, right? So there's an obligation from the district that we find a mutually agreed upon time. We were just talking about this last week in the academy, which is the Epic Special Ed Academy we have every Monday night. You guys should join. This is not a hostage situation. We don't say, Cindy, we're going to have the meeting on Tuesday at 10:47, and that's it. Well, it doesn't work that way. We are equitable members, and so we find a time to meet mutually. Oh, look, there's Truck Tiger. Look, Cindy,
Yay!
Truck Tiger.
I love Truck Tiger.
I hope he's not driving.
No, I'm certain he is.
I'm certain he is not. I'm sure that he's just going over his special ed paperwork.
He is very diligent about that.
He is the king. He is the king of documentation. He could be the documentation, dynamic guru.
Absolutely.
He's been documenting my progress for 18 years now.
Yeah, would you be opposed to being his queen at documentation?
Yeah, I wouldn't be, but y'all have seen my documentation. You can't even read it.
But that's okay. Your results are there.
There you go.
Data. Can
Data.
I have it? Or can the school keep it from me?
No, so anything that is kept in the education of your child is your child's record. So data on your child, an email with their name and or ID number, is you have the right to see it. And so that's in the federal code. And so you would need that data so that you can meaningfully participate at the IEP meetings. You would need that data so that you can continue to extend all the great things that they're doing at school, all those things.
Fantastic. Oop. My phone jumped. There we go. There we go. How do I handle a first grader who is so behind, they're basically on an alternated curriculum, but is in general education blinded program?
Blinded? You mean blended?
Oh, it probably is blended.
Yeah. So, blinded? You mean blended?
Oh, it probably is blended.
Yeah. So, when an educator receives a student and their level of need is not appropriate for the current setting, we call an IEP meeting to look at the continuum of services, the continuum of placements. Are there things that we could do in general ed to make him successful? And that may be yes or no. But we don't just leave them there. So that's the great thing about educators. They know our kids at school the best. So I would just call an IEP meeting and say, I'm concerned that this may not be the most appropriate setting for him in this content area right now. I would just call an IEP meeting and say, I'm concerned that this may not be the most appropriate setting for him in this content area right now.
And not agreeing on anything for their autistic child.
Are divorced, first thing you need is you need to make sure that in the divorce decree the district is in possession, or if you're the advocate, is in possession of the one page in the divorce decree that says educational rights. You clear that up. We have to come to consensus, whether that's through a disagree or an agree. When you disagree with the school district twice, whatever they propose as an offer of FAPE stands as the offer of FAPE. So, it's hard to get people on the same page sometimes because we have different perceptions, but I would see if you could have a pre-meeting and see if we could work out our differences so when we get back in the IEP meeting, we can write an IEP to enable him to make progress. I would see if you could have a pre-meeting and see if we could work out our differences so when we get back in the IEP meeting, we can write an IEP to enable him to make progress.
My son, they have him with his back to all of his peers and his desk up against the board. Your thoughts on this?
It's not 1950. We don't do that. We're not in the shame business. We're not in the punishment business. We're in the educating business. And if you wouldn't want that to happen in front of your friends in public, let's not do that to children with disabilities.
Yeah, kind of ugly.
I spent a lot of time in elementary school in the hall, alone with my thoughts. I don't know. They said something about I talk a lot. I don't see that. Do you, Cindy?
I would not be opposed to saying that you talk a lot, but it's meaningful.
I just have so much to get out. There's so many words. Wake up every day with this bucket of words.
That is fantastic.
I've got to release my word bucket.
Yes.
And hopefully I don't release it on the top of your head.
It would be a learning experience for all.
It would be a learning, including me.
Yes. I feel like my son is not grade level, and it's stressful for virtual learning K through 12. What can I do?
So, I'm not a fan of virtual. Sorry. I'm just not a fan of virtual because it's virtual. If that's your only way to educate them, maybe for a medical need or emotional need, I certainly understand that. But it's hard to measure what the deficits are when we're educating kids virtually.
Can they still remove the child's IEP if you signed and said, I disagree?
So again, when you disagree with the school district, there's an obligation for the school district to offer you a reconvene. The purpose of that reconvene is not just to come back and start the same conversation again. You come back with data. Ask the school to come back with data. If the school is saying, he reads on grade level, super, let's make a video of him doing that, right? And you come back with him reading on a video. There's almost always a way to get the decision to consensus at the table, but sometimes there's not. If you disagree twice, you could pursue filing and requesting an impartial due process hearing.
Can you have a 9th grade student in life skills half of the day with a first grader?
Well, 9th grade and first graders wouldn't even be at the same campus. So I don't know how they got in the same room. I don't want somebody with a beard and a baby together for either one of them.
Certainly. Especially if it was the size of, say, like Mikey.
Yeah. Ta-da! Yeah.
And then a 25-pound first grader.
Yeah.
What if the student had clear lapses in services, for example, social worker and speech? How do I remedy that?
Yeah, so I would just say there's been
for example, social worker and speech. How do I remedy that?
Yeah, so I would just say there's been identified denial. I hurt some people's feelings. Just breathe through it. You either delivered FAPE or you denied FAPE. Those are the only two choices. And are there a billion reasons why you denied FAPE? Yes. But it doesn't mean the student wasn't impacted. And so I would just ask the district, when could we expect an offer of compensatory time to return the student back to where they would have been had the IDEA violation not occurred?
So a follow-up on the data question. If teacher observation is an opinion that cannot be verified, would then that technically make it not data?
It's non-verifiable data, right? So if we are all standing in front of my house waiting for the pallet of books to come, did I tell you there's books coming? Go get this book, The Epic IEP. And the police officer comes and says, describe to me what you saw. I think that we all know that how many different descriptions would there be? 4, right? And so we observe and we write data down. Unfortunately, some providers are in IEP meetings and I'll say, so Ms. Smith, you were his speech and language teacher last year. Correct. So in January, you said he mastered his goals, but I don't have any data to support that he mastered this goal of writing a complete sentence with correct capitalization and punctuation. And I ask her for her data and she says to me, oh, that's personal. No. Actually, data is printable, copyable, screen shareable, graphable. It's not personal. And so you would expect for other professionals to have written down data. So of course we observe and write down what we observed, but most people are just saying at the end of every grading period, a student mastered a goal because they observed it, but there's no data to support it. And there's no data to support observed, but most people are just saying at the end of every grading period, a student mastered a goal because they observed it, but there's no data to support it. And there's no data to support Did you ever have an occasion in the great Florida to be audited?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
What happens when you're audited? They just say, Cindy, come out with your hands up. Is that what they say?
It's pretty gnarly. They walk into all your filing cabinets, which should be under lock and key, and they pick 5 to 10 of your files, and they go through to see if what needs to be there is there, and they have ways of knowing whether it is real or if it has been made up.
So they don't ask you to sit and visit and talk about your feelings about data?
Oh, certainly not.
You're not hugging it out? You don't like go to paint till you faint and have like a bottle of rosé? That's not what an audit is?
That is not what an audit is. And even if you have all your ducks in a row and you are...
That's not what an audit is?
That is not what an audit is. And even if you have all your ducks in a row and you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, it still feels like you're guilty.
Yeah. And I think, you know this, Cindy, and all my partners do. You know, there's training for teachers that's misinformation, and then there's no information, right? And so teachers would think that if my boss said I'm good, right? But your principal is not going to be audited for not delivering FAPE. It's because they're not on the IEP, right? And so one of the things that we know as advocates, that we file state complaints, due process complaints, and federal complaints for clients all the time. And the first thing that the federal government or the state government asks from the district is for say it with me, your documentation. They don't say, can we get on a call? There's none of that. It literally is documentation. And kind of think about it like court. When you go into court, they don't, even if you say something happened, what do? Objection, hearsay, right? And it assumes facts, not in evidence. So if it's not written down, it is not a fact. So we want you to have things written down. And so I got 2 minutes, Cindy, before I jump off to my next IEP meeting. Let's bring it home for the Latte Learners on Friday.
What can we do if the class has no equipment, toys, nor special supplies for any autistic kids?
I would ask if there's a way that we could support you in getting those, and, see if the district has the funds to, provide those things for students in their class. And if not, I would just, go live on TikTok in front of the school district. I'm just kidding. No, just see if how you can support the campus. And if not, I would just, go live on TikTok in front of the school district. I'm just kidding. No, just see if how you can support the campus to get.
Do I need a radio?
That's funny. Do I need a radio? Yes. Yes, and probably a big fishing net. Yeah, definitely a radio and some good New Balance tennis shoes. So thanks, you guys, for all that you do. Remember, when we get it right for the child, we get it right for everybody. Go to theepic.iep.com. Get this book. Go back and then get all of your bonuses. When we get it right for the child, we get it right for everybody. If you need anything, just reach out to us. Hit subscribe. Share this with a friend. And you know what? Meet me back here every single week. We're not just talking about change. We're making it. Because when you know better, you do better. And when we get it right for the child, we get it right for everybody.